Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Spill the D. I'm Rick, one of your hosts, and I'm joined, as always, with my beautiful co-host Gina. How are you?
I am doing so good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not going to talk about the weather. We're
You
just going to get into some Disney stuff.
can talk about the weather and how great the weather is. It is 73 degrees here today, people. You're so dramatic.
You said you didn't want to talk about the weather, so we're
Because
not
it's
going to talk
just
about
the,
the
the
weather.
most cliche small talk.
Yeah, but it's spring, almost summer, and I'm really excited about it because I don't like winter.
It's not spring yet. Spring is March 20th.
It's close
We
enough to
have
spring.
like a week until it is officially spring, and you get your free Rita's Blu-rays.
It's so warm out, though. It's great.
It's basically spring, but it's not according to the calendar.
True.
Some people would argue it's not even until March 21st.
That's when the official day of spring is, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think
The
some calendars say
is
the
it the
20th, some say the 21st. Is it equinox?
Yeah, the spring.
No,
Not the
winter and
spring.
summer is equinox, spring.
The autumnal something. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Florida doesn't have seasons, so
Yeah, my biggest shock when living there was that the trees didn't change colors. The
really.
leaves. I was like, it was like October, and I was like, do the leaves change here? I felt them. They don't, for anyone wondering. There was like two trees that did, and I was like, oh, red.
Anyway,
Anyway,
if you're going to Disney and you're going between the dates of
April 2nd and September 22nd. We have some really good news for your vacation. Before we get into the fun part of the episode, we definitely want to go over this with everybody because this can save you some serious money.
oh yeah,
So, you guys might remember last year, Disney released a 4-park magic ticket. They are doing that again this year. So, it's a 4-day, 4-park magic ticket from $99 per day plus tax. So, that means the lowest price that you can get for a 4-day ticket then is going to be $396. This is amazing. Right now, I've been looking at like 3-day tickets for a trip we have coming up, and it was roughly about 150 per day or
yeah,
160 per day. Like Disney, just to be brutally honest, their deals as for multiple days are not as good now as they used to be.
hmm
They definitely used to be better the more days you added. They're still like it gets cheaper more days, but like
yeah,
not to the extent it used to be. And I think partially it's because they put out these offers like this occasionally
yeah.
to make it like a crazy good deal. And this is a crazy good deal. So that comes out to $99 per day. The thing with this ticket is you get admission to one park per day.
No park hopper.
No park hopper. So the way that this ticket works is that each of those 4 days you can go to one of the 4 parks. You can't go back to a park. So if day one is Magic Kingdom, your Magic Kingdom ticket is done.
No repeats or hesitations.
Concentration. I was like, what game is that? I could hear it in my head. If that's just a regional thing, people are going to be so
So
confused.
confused. The people who get it.
The ones who don't,
I
don't.
think that's the second week in a row we made that reference.
You can make that reference for literally every episode. So, okay, this 4-park magic ticket. It is good for 4 parks, 1 park per day, no park hopping.
hmm
You cannot use it in the same park more than once. So that is each day you are going to a different park. You don't have to use it on 4 consecutive days. You do have the length of your trip to use it,
That's good.
but it needs to be used within 7 days of that start date. So if you have a really long trip, just keep that in mind when you're allotting which days you're using which. Now the cool thing that they're doing this time that they didn't do last time, they did it differently last time. This time they're also doing a 3-day ticket. The thing with the 3-day ticket though is that it is only Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom. It does not include Magic
No
Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom.
So if you want to skip Magic Kingdom, that can be a very worth it ticket because the 3-day ticket starts at $89 per day.
That's nice.
So even cheaper. So like these are just things to keep in mind if you are planning your trip. These are deals that could be really worth it.
Mhm.
I was doing the math, and this 4-day ticket for when we are going is cheaper than buying a 3-day ticket.
Mhm.
And then something also to note with these tickets is you have the option of just getting the 4-park magic ticket, or you can get the 4-park magic ticket with the water park and sports option as well. So you can enjoy up to 4 visits at the water park or Walt Disney World sports related fun, as it said. So
Yeah.
ESPN, mini golf, things like that.
Sounds exciting.
Very exciting. So this is a pretty big deal. The difference, though, to keep in mind from the way that they did it last year to how they're doing it this year, and something that kind of threw me for a loop when I was looking at booking it for us, is that this year they are saying that it is priced from $99 per ticket. So it can be up to $120 per day rather than 99 per day.
Mm-hmm.
So the week we're going, it's $119 per day on our start date. As you get more into August and September, that is when you're going to see a lot of those $99 a day options.
As opposed to last year when it was one set price.
One set price, 99 per day, no matter what.
What.
But I mean, the perk would be also this 3-day ticket, even cheaper at 89 per day. So
Yeah.
like there are pros and cons to both, but either way, 120 is still significantly cheaper
Yeah.
than the 150 to 160 that we were looking at before. So
Yeah. And if you can't decide which one's best for you, if you're overwhelmed by the options, we're going to recommend that you head over to 407 and Beyond. They're a Disney and Universal Orlando travel agency. They help book and plan family vacations to destinations such as Disney World, Orlando, so many other places. Their travel agents are completely free, and they'll do everything for you. They'll stay on the phone for you. They'll book all of your dining. They'll do everything. So if you want to get started with a free quote, head over to www.407vacations.com and get started with a free quote today.
get ready, get booking. Use this promo. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm confused by all of these options. So
Did I not explain it well?
No, you did. You
okay,
did.
I tried to like.
You understand these kind of things a lot better than I do, which is why you plan everything.
So a Disney ticket, regularly $150 a
Yeah.
day for 4 days, is now going to be $120 a day.
Yeah. Well, there's just so many
Or
restrictions.
it's now going to be $199
There's
or
just so
just
many-
$99 a day.
There's just so many restrictions to follow. You know what I mean?
No park hopping. 4 parks, 1 per day.
But the 3-park ticket.
3 parks, 1 per day. Magic Kingdom is not 1. So just the
Can you
other
get
3 parks.
The water activities with the 3-park?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Never mind. I understand.
Got it.
Still go to 407.
Oh, absolutely.
Vacations.com.
And if you still have more questions, if I still didn't explain it well enough, definitely reach out to them. They can help you out too. That's it. I'm ready for the episode. You ready for the episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
More of the episode. I guess this counts. So this episode, hopefully I can figure out the proper way to word the title of it by the time it is posted. But basically, this episode is Disney tips we have learned through years of going that are just so random. Things that you would not look up beforehand because you wouldn't think it would be a question.
Yeah.
Things that no one would think to tell you and
Yeah.
that you might not think to tell anybody if it didn't actually happen to you. So we have a good amount that we came up with, and we actually put it out to the listeners via Instagram and said, what do you think? We got a good amount from them. It's probably going to be a multiple part episode. So I'm ready for part 1.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to give you an example, we're going to start with a kind of really weird one that most people would be like, are these people serious? This is what we're talking about. I swear there are more intense ones than this, but this is you don't know unless it happens. So let's say you're staying at a Walt Disney World Resort and you are getting breakfast. Are you laughing because this one's so ridiculous?
It's so random.
It's so random, but I wish someone would have told me because for 3 days I didn't know, and by the 4th day I learned.
No, it's a good little tidbit to have.
So you're staying at Walt Disney World Resort. You got a bagel for breakfast. You got toast. You got whatever, a banana, and you want a pack of peanut butter, like the small little portable Jifs where they give you to put them right onto the bagel. This is included in the price of these things. These are free. Peanut butter is right up there with ketchup in the resorts. But because of allergies, they don't leave it out. You have to ask for it.
Just gotta ask.
I know that's a really weird fact, but my bagel was so much better when I realized all I had to do was ask. And when I asked them, they said, how many do you want? They brought it out to me and they explained to me that because of allergies, they can't leave it on the counter. Fair.
Makes 100% sense.
It made
less liability for them.
So much sense.
Yeah, I mean this is a really good one because there are people like I've been doing a banana and peanut butter for breakfast every day. Like if I wanted to stick with that while I'm still on my Disney vacation, I can do that. I just
Yeah.
know that I need to ask now.
You'd ask. And I could be wrong. Maybe they wouldn't give it to you if you got a banana, but because I had a bagel, they went and
Yeah.
got it for me.
Yeah.
But then again, they wouldn't have told me then that it would be out on the counter normally.
Hmm.
So I don't know. This
Ask.
this is one of those weird ones where this is a tip we learned completely from our experience,
Yeah.
and it could be situational. Just a little caveat
But
there.
this situation,
But this is what they explained to me at Saratoga Springs. They said, no, it should be on the counter, but it can't be because of allergies. So there's a little weird one to give you an idea of what this episode is going to look like. Some of these are a little bit more intense. Some of these are more lackadaisical,
more
like
peanut
this
butter.
one. More peanut butter-esque, if you will. So there you go.
This next one is one of my personal favorites, and it's kind of actually along the same lines of the peanut butter. When you get a cinnamon bun from Gaston's, you look at it and there's just not enough icing on it. There never is. There's never enough.
I love this like word picture you're painting for the listener right now.
They hand you your nice warm cinnamon bun. You look at it and you're like, man, I wish there was more icing on there. Guess what? There can be. All you have to do is ask, and they'll give you an extra cup of icing.
I feel like I'm really there right now. Like I feel like I just got a warm cinnamon roll and thought, wow, not enough icing.
This is my favorite one because it's so good to dip it in the icing.
Uh-huh.
It just adds the extra icing flavor. And again, it's no charge. You just ask for extra icing and they'll just give it to you in a cup.
And I think that that's actually a lesson that you can take around Disney is there are times when you could say, hey, how much would it cost for extra icing?
Yeah.
If you didn't know this and find out that it doesn't cost anything.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're telling you it doesn't cost anything at Gaston's, but
Yeah.
there are other places around property where you might be like, hey, how much would it cost me to add this on? And it's like, oh, no, we actually do
Yeah.
that for free. So just never be afraid to ask, especially in Disney, because while it is expensive, and we'll always talk about how Disney is expensive, there are ways to make it affordable, and you get what you pay for most of the time in Disney. So things like extra icing, like that's that level above customer service that Disney offers.
Yeah.
That extra icing can make or break your day.
It can make or break the cinnamon bun.
Just ask Rick. He'll tell you. Okay, so now we'll go into a little bit more of a serious one.
Okay.
One that can really make or break your trip.
True.
Because this could be pretty bad if you didn't know this one. So, gift cards. Gift cards in Disney are...
It's a tough one.
They're amazing.
They're so good.
They're so good. You can buy them discounted at places like Sam's Club, Costco, Target. Get a nice discounted gift card and you're good to go. Target, it's if you use the Target credit card to buy it, you get the cash back. So, a lot of people will buy gift cards maybe every paycheck, once a month, and use it to pay for their trip. Bring it with them to use it on dining experiences. Their trip will be paid for almost completely in gift cards. So we actually have 2 different gift card tips to share with you right now that are, hey, if this didn't happen to us, we probably wouldn't have known. And actually, both of these things happened in the last 2 months. So, number 1, you can't use gift cards for an advanced dining reservation if it is paid, if you are prepaying for it. So an example of this is we are doing a dessert party on our next trip. And I was like, cool, you know what? We'll just pay for the dessert party with the gift cards. Not thinking anything of it, just thinking this is a great use of these gift cards.
Should work. It works for everything else.
Yeah, you can use gift cards for anything in Disney. But you know what? Everyone always says you can use gift cards for just about anything in Disney. And this is where that just about comes in. So you have to use a credit card for the dessert party as an advanced dining reservation because they need to be able to charge a card if you don't show up. So the same way that you would have to put a credit card on a meal when you make a reservation so that they can charge that $10 if you don't show up, that's the same way as the dessert party would work too. So you need to put a credit card. There may be more to it than that, more science behind it, but the gist of it is you need to use a credit card. You cannot use a gift card to pay for a dessert party.
Yeah.
That threw me off. I had a few $100s of gift cards sitting there waiting to be spent on this. That if that was what we were planning to do, that could have really messed up someone's trip if they had a party of 10 going to a dessert party.
Yeah.
That's over $100 per person in gift cards that they now need to allot somewhere else. So any advanced dining reservation that is fully paid for ahead of time, you cannot use a gift card for.
Good to know.
Yes. You want me to do the other one too?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other gift card thing that was another, we experienced this the hard way, and it makes sense when you think about it, but it's just one of those things you don't think about until it happens.
Hmm.
Disney gift cards can only be used in the US and on Disney cruises.
Yeah.
So we are going to Disneyland Paris, and we tried to use the gift cards to put the first payment on our hotel room.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. You cannot use gift cards for Disneyland Paris. You can't use gift cards for Shanghai, Tokyo, anything like that. Only Disneyland, Disney World, anywhere in the US, and then like Disney stores, and then a Disney cruise you can use gift cards. That is it.
Makes sense, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming it has something to do with the currency transfer.
That
But
was my thought too. It has to be that exchange, that it just doesn't, it's probably more trouble than it's worth to try and use the gift
yeah.
cards for them, like for their systems.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Probably easier ways to cheat the system if you're trying to do it with gift cards. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It makes sense. It's not
It does.
weird. It's not the weirdest thing.
Again, I was thrown off when they said it because we
Yeah.
got a bunch of gift cards. We're going to Disneyland Paris as part of our honeymoon.
Yeah.
We got a few Disney gift cards as wedding gifts from people. People know we love Disney. It was a perfect wedding gift. And I
Yeah.
was like, perfect. We'll use it for our honeymoon
Yeah.
because it was a wedding gift. And I went to do it and it was like, no. And then
do
I
that.
tried to use the same ones for the dessert party and they were like, no. So I got a pile of wedding gift cards.
We'll figure out what to use them for.
And I'm trying to use on something that feels a little romantic. I don't know. We'll get there eventually. I don't know.
We'll find a restaurant. or
We'll,
something.
yeah, we'll make it work. It's fine. But yeah, so you can't use them in other countries. You know what else I learned while I was on the phone that day?
What?
This is terrible. This one really made me mad at Disney for a solid. Actually, till right now, no, I'm still a little mad about this, and I'm gonna tell the world because everyone needs to know this.
Let's hear it.
I called Disneyland Paris because I was having issues getting it booked. I had a question. I needed the answer. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call them and I'm going to pay the fee on the long distance call.
Okay.
Which also I misread what that was going to cost. It was more than I thought. But still.
Wonderful.
They put me on hold. Fine. I get it. You're busy. I finally get to somebody and I'm talking to them and they have an American accent. And she's like, oh, have you ever been there? She's talking to me. We're conversating. Keep in mind, this is still the long distance call on according to my phone.
Are you talking to someone in Florida?
She was in Tampa. I was like, oh, like how long have you lived in Europe? Like, where are you from? And she was like, oh, I'm from Tampa. And I was like, oh, how long have you lived in Europe? And she was like, no, like we're based out of Tampa. I was like, why am I calling France
and getting transferred.
and
to
getting
Tampa.
transferred to Tampa? I think it was Tampa. It was somewhere in Florida. I was
crazy.
like, are you kidding me? So I waited on hold and then talked to this girl and she was a sweetheart making conversation, but I'm like, sweetie, I'm
Give me
getting
my money
charged
back.
for the second to talk to you right now and you're in Florida. So do not call Disneyland Paris. They're just gonna send you to Florida. I was so upset. I was like, are you kidding me?
That's fair.
And then
That's
we got the
frustrating.
bill and I was like, ugh.
How much is it for the call?
I think I paid like $70 or $80.
What?
Yeah.
And we're getting that back, right?
I probably should call Disney. I probably should call and be like, what are you gonna do? Because
Yeah.
you sent me to Florida.
Yeah, that's insane. That's expensive.
I learned a lot on that phone call. I can keep going right now with tips if people need them for Disneyland Paris. If you are booking, it is significantly cheaper to book a package than it is to just get the hotel. It would have cost us $1,700 for just the hotel or $1,600 for the hotel and tickets for 4 days.
Makes sense.
I was like, wouldn't it be cheaper? Because we didn't need 4 days of tickets. So
Yeah.
I was like, wouldn't it be cheaper for me to get the hotel and then get 2 days of tickets? And she was like, you would think. It's like, okay.
Paris is weird.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I learned a lot in the 15 to 20 minutes that I was on the phone with the lovely girl from Florida.
Well, they say Tampa is the Paris of America, so.
I don't know if that was a nice thing to say. Based off what I've heard about Paris, I don't know how much of a compliment that was to Tampa.
Why not of it? I don't know.
But yeah, so there's a bunch of tips for you that are, we learned this from experience. I paid the $80 so you didn't have to.
You're welcome.
so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. I gotta figure. You're right. I should contact Disney
Yeah.
and be
That's
like,
ridiculous. Why
give
are we getting
me,
charged for that?
give me a gift card or something. I know I can't use it in Paris, but I'm sure I'll be back to somewhere in the U.S. That's a very good point. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm
So,
surprised you didn't think of that. Usually you're the one who thinks of that stuff.
you know what? I was just so annoyed. Like I really was just like when she was like, "Oh no, I'm in Florida. We're based out of Florida." I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
cool. Nice." And like I said, she was so nice, but that almost made it worse.
Yeah.
It was like, "I want to hate you.
I want to yell at you.
I want to yell at you so bad, but this isn't your fault. So I won't." And you're nice, so I really won't. It's a whole thing. A whole thing. Okay, now we have two ride ones for you from two things we have experienced over the years from rides.
Yeah, so this one, again, completely situational on our experience. Tower of Terror.
Nope, this is a fact. It is.
It's a fact.
We,
Kind of.
No.
There's a caveat to this one, and I'll get to it. So, Tower of Terror. If you want a better ride experience, most of the time, make sure you go towards where there's less kids, which is usually the far side, which would be left, I guess. Usually, parents with kids will turn and go down the first one. But
that's just
anyway,
like that one is definitely a from what we noticed.
If you can do your best to find a ride that doesn't have kids in it, it'll usually be better because usually the kids get scared and gonna destroy the magic here a little bit for people.
Trigger warning.
The ride is controlled by somebody. It's not random. So if you're in the ride and there's a screaming child who's having a horrible time, they will make it easier for the child to be able to deal with. They won't give you as many ups and downs. They won't.
You'll probably get more of like a Frogger experience.
Yeah, and
like
instead of like a big drop and a big rise, stuff like that. So try to avoid where the kids are at. Now, granted, I can remember one time being on where there was no kids and there was an adult who was having a horrible time and they still did the same thing. But this adult was going through it.
Yeah, but we've also been on where there's a kid who is having the time of their life and they roll with it. So, like, kids aren't necessarily going to be the end-all, be-all, but strategically, less kids, better ride.
Yeah, most of the time.
This fact came from a friend that we met while doing the Disney College program, actually, who worked as a cast member of Tower of Terror. And he was like, there is someone watching, and they will change the ride based off of that, which is why there are so many different combinations of what you can get, because it's someone controlling it who is saying, these people are having the time of their life. Let's drop them 5 more times.
Yeah, exactly. Fun game also, if we haven't talked about it on the podcast before, is just start yelling up or down when you get to that part of the ride. And most of the time, everybody in the ride gets really into it. And I find that the ride experience is usually better because people are excited when they're fighting with whoever they're with about whether we're going up or down.
For anyone who has never ridden Tower of Terror, it's not just a drop ride. It also is a shoot up ride. So
it
that
does either.
The initial drop that you would expect can sometimes shoot up. Most of the time it does drop, but sometimes it does shoot up first. When I actually think it's so much more fun because then your first real drop is like twice as much.
Exactly.
Not really even a drop. It's like a pool.
But yeah, if you want more drops, a little bit better of a ride experience, try to avoid the kids because usually those rides will be shorter, like Gina said, more Frogger style, as opposed to when there's not terrified children on the ride.
Go ahead, say it how I wrote it.
What?
Less kid, more fun.
Less kids, more fun.
It's actually my life motto. Just kidding. I love kids. Who am I kidding?
When you can give them back.
Yeah, definitely. All right, the next one we have is also a ride one. This one is one that we have figured out over the years, and if you haven't ridden this ride before, it probably won't really make sense what I'm saying until you actually get there and see it. I'll try and see if I have a video of it that I can post on Instagram with a clip so you can go and look at see what I'm saying. So, when you're in line for Big Thunder Mountain and you're going through, there's a part, you go through the whole thing, and then the last section of the ride, it says use left lane or right lane, and it splits, and there are 2 different ways that you can go. And everyone will tell you it's the same, cast member will say it's the same, go on whatever one.
It's not.
So Yeah, yeah. So go left every time. You need to go left. Here's the thing. The reason why you're going to go left is because going left, you go down, and it technically is the same distance as the right because they just go back and forth on loading. However, the right side is also where people come in if they are on a VIP tour or if they are handicapped. That's where they're going to load those people from. So if someone maybe is in a wheelchair, like they can't go to the normal entrance.
Yeah.
So they bring them in through there. If there's a VIP tour coming in, they bring them in through there. They bring them in through the exit. And they load them on the side that the right side leads to. So that means an entire train, sometimes two, sometimes only one seat, whatever,
Yeah.
could go, making you have to wait.
Yeah.
Like they might have to load that with the people who just came in through the VIP entrance or through the handicap entrance. The left side doesn't do that. There's no kind of entrance on the left side, so the left side only loads the people who are in that left line. So it's really only going to make it quicker by one or two trains. If it is making it quicker, it could be exactly the same, but it's not going to be slower.
Yeah.
The right side is more likely to be slower.
And again, it's more likely to. There's not necessarily, like, you're not definitely going to be waiting on a VIP tour or a handicap group coming in. But everybody's been in the situation where they wait in line for an extended period of time, and then someone from a VIP tour or something comes and just goes right in front of them, and you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So just save yourself the stress and go in the left lane. That way you don't even have to worry about it.
This is true. Especially when you like wait for the front or the back.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, I can wait. I can wait an extra one to make sure I get the seat that I want. And then they come and they take it, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, they gotta wait longer.
I'm like, this is, and again, at that point, what is it? Another 2 minutes?
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
not that much time. It's just the initial stress and the increased blood pressure of being like, ah.
Well, and having to explain to a kid like why you're waiting even longer now. Like, wait, I thought it was our turn. Well, we're next. These people are first. So if you want a learning moment for your child, go right. It could happen. But if you're just like, what's going to be quicker? Left side, technically speaking, has more potential to be quicker.
Yeah.
That's my weird tip that I tell literally everybody.
That's a good one. I mean, that's definitely like just one of those things that no one's gonna really pick up on, or just know if they're going. You know.
I'm pretty sure I picked up on it because I had to wait at one point. I'm pretty sure because it was like so close.
Okay, our next one. Now this one is interesting, and it's fully because of experience.
Hold on.
What, the laptop?
Yeah, I want to see if the noise will stop after a minute or two.
Gina's laptop.
I need a new laptop.
How long have you been using this one?
About a year. But it's refurbished. I didn't know if I would like Mac. So next one I get, I think I'm going to go to the store and get like a real Mac. Because it can't even, like, I can't use Cricut on it anymore.
Oh, really?
Which is also kind of what, like, sold me. I'm like, okay, now I need a new one.
Gotcha.
Because that was, like, Cricut and podcast. Those are the two things I bought it for.
Well, I'll use this one then.
That's fine. For what?
I don't know.
Okay. We gotta get rid of all these other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so our next one. Last ride one, I believe. Again, just strictly from personal experience, this might not be true at all, but it's from what we've experienced.
No, I think this one's true.
Buzz Lightyear. We've talked about this on an episode before. There are targets that give you higher points. This is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. That's a tongue twister. In Magic Kingdom.
Tomorrowland.
There are targets that give you more points for hitting them. That's how people get Galactic Hero. These targets are more easily accessible from the left seat. Mostly because, in my opinion anyway, of the robot hand in the first room. I think that's really where you get ahead as far as points go. For those that don't know what we're talking about right now, do you remember what episode it was where we talked about that? Did we have like a ride hacks episode where we talked about that?
Like years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was before you were even on the podcast.
But I think you and Sab did talk about the spots to hit.
Yes.
So go ahead and listen to that one and should be called like ride hacks or something.
We'll probably recreate that one at some point because
Yeah.
there's more rides now, so more hacks.
Yeah. Anyway, these spots are more easily accessible from the left seat.
These targets.
I don't know why. They just are.
It's the fact that so when you go in there you hit the robot's hand and that'll give you 100,000 points. Well, if you're in the left seat, the robot's on the left side. It's significantly easier to hit. And
Yeah.
if the car in front of you doesn't have anybody in it, there's nobody moving that car, so it's in your way for a lot of the beginning. If there's somebody in it and they're turning it, it might move it out of your way, which is helpful. But it's still, you need to be strategic about them turning it and when you hit it. So for the start of it, that does cause a problem. You also can get 100,000 points when you're leaving that room. There's a robot hand that's like a claw.
Yeah.
At the top that's pointed down. And that one actually is easier to hit if you're the person on the right.
It is.
But the robot hand on the left is, you're seeing it longer. And if you're the person on the left, you just have the ability to get to it a lot easier.
And it's just right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's a really easy shot.
Yeah,
That
that
you
one
don't really need like any aim to hit that.
definitely correct.
So, sit on the left side if you're trying to get galactic hero and beat your friends and family.
So here's the weird thing that I'm like pretty sure about. And I don't know how true this is. This one's from my experience. I'm 99% sure that car moves on its own for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin based off the weight of the people in the car.
Okay.
So I'm like convinced of this, but I think this is just a mental thing at this point. But I always make sure that the heavier person sits on the right because I'm convinced that when you're aiming for that robot.
Do you wonder why?
Okay, there's a lot of times that I'm the heavier person.
And you're always on the left. No,
No, I'm saying if I'm not with you.
I've never seen you ride on the right.
If I'm not with you, I'm on the right usually.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen you ride
I
on the
will
right.
pull the photos. I will get the ride photos and show you me on the right. So, I'm convinced that if the heavier person sits on the left at the beginning when you're going uphill, it like will start turning you more because it's like the way that it's angled, it's pulling you down so that you're turning. So I like to make sure the heavier person's on the right because it kind of evens the weight a little bit. But again, I'm pretty sure that's just all mental. That's not a real thing. But I like to tell myself it is. It makes me feel better. And I will find the receipts for you so you can see that I have sat on the right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So rude. So rude.
Just
Okay.
saying, I don't think it's a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tips we have learned from experience. We got 2 food ones here. One of which we learned from our experience. One of which I actually learned from social media. And I feel like I just need to share it because it's a really good one. Unfortunately, I don't have the name of the person who it came from because I accidentally scrolled and couldn't get the video back. But if I find it, I'll add it in here or I will add it into the show notes later if I find it later. The tip is if you have children and you do the quick service dining plan, use adult meals as your quick service meals when you cash them in Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom because you get alcohol with the meal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have 2 kids, have them split one adult meal and then you take the alcoholic drink to get the most out of your money because if you use an adult meal in Magic Kingdom, you're not getting an alcoholic beverage with it.
Yeah.
Save the kids' meals for Magic Kingdom and eat with kids' meals throughout the park.
That's a good tip because, in my opinion, Magic Kingdom doesn't have that great of adult meals anyway.
No, very similar to the kids' meals.
Yeah,
a
like-
lot of the kids' meals are just kid portions of the adult meals.
And even still, half the time it's like not that much less food in
Mhm.
Magic Kingdom. I
Oh,
feel
my
like
kid meals are huge.
I feel like it's much more noticeable in other parks, the size of the meal difference in all the other parks, and then Magic Kingdom, I feel like it's not that noticeable.
I never even really have an issue anyway because kids' meals come with 2 sides and a drink. Adult meals are
Yeah.
one side. It's a bigger side, but it's one side and
Yeah.
no drink if you don't have the dining plan. So I just feel like kids' meals are so worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I personally like the adult meals because the better tasting food is the main course, but
Again, depends on the food, depends on the place.
yeah. But this is a really good tip, and I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, I was amazed and I was like, I don't have kids, but as soon as I do, I'm doing this because
Yeah.
it's just genius. It really is to use your adult meals in the parks where you get alcohol. Heck yeah. Why
Yeah.
like it makes so much sense. And then you get 2 drinks for dinner instead of 1.
Make your money go farther.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this will not work for a sit-down meal. If you have a dining plan, you
Yeah.
can't use a kid's credit.
Quick service only.
Yes, they are a lot more stricter when it comes to sit down from our experience with using your dining credits.
Mm-hmm. Our next food one, and we do this occasionally. I like having my own meals, but sometimes I'm just not hungry enough for a full meal. Maybe we just ate a few hours ago. Maybe I just had a whole bucket of popcorn. Who knows? Anyway, if you ask, Disney will split your meal. If you're out to eat and you're not that hungry, and you say, "Hey, can you guys split this for us?" They'll split it. They'll bring it on two separate plates.
Another situation where this is really helpful is if you say that you're splitting it because you want to try two things.
Ah, yeah.
So 2 plates of pasta and 2 plates of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
That like a plate of pasta, a plate of chicken, they'll bring out two of each plate.
Yeah.
Like with half portions.
Sneaky.
Why is that sneaky?
Because you can try more stuff.
Yeah, that's like the perfect way to eat. That's the proper way to eat on vacation.
Most people just reach across the table anyway, so you might as well just not have to reach across the table.
Yeah, let them know that you're splitting it. They might bring you out on 2 plates. They especially do it if you only got one thing and you're splitting it.
Mm-hmm.
I like when we do where we split one thing and then we get an appetizer too.
Yeah.
That one I feel like we do a lot. We're like, okay, we'll get one entree, one appetizer, so we can try a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or one entree, one dessert, something like that.
Yeah.
Although we don't get dessert often in Disney because there's always dessert outside of the restaurant.
Yeah, there's always better stuff outside, I feel like.
Yeah. But Disney will split it for you if you say that you're splitting. In addition to this, and this next one was actually a listener submitted one, their portions are huge. Rick eats more than the average person, especially on vacation when he's walking 10 miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
Their portions are huge and everything is splittable, just about. And like I said, even if you are unsure if you want to split the entree or you're unsure what you want to do, you can get an appetizer, get an entree, and order more as you go if you need to.
Yeah.
So I recommend splitting in general to start if you think it sounds like it's going to be big, and then going from there.
That's fair. If you think it's going to be a large meal, then it can be worth it.
Well, because it stinks having leftovers in a theme park.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk around with it. You don't want to deal with it. It's so much nicer to just be done when you're done, especially if you don't have kids, because then you don't have a stroller to put it in.
Yeah,
Or like if you don't want to put it in your bag, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
try splitting it. Their portions are really big. Again, this goes back to you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Like their stuff's expensive, but they give you so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, from here on out, these ones are listener submitted responses of things that they experienced that made it that they now have these tips for people. And one of them actually that perfectly led into it by accident. One of our listeners said, wrap up your food if it's on the strollers. The squirrels in Disney are crazy.
Birds too.
Yeah.
The birds are also savages.
People feed these animals all the time, which you are not supposed to do, for the record. And part of the reason you're not supposed to feed the animals is because then it makes them aggressive because they start to expect the food. So because of that, they will come and take the food right off of your stroller. Yep. So
wrap it up, put it in a bag.
Do not, if you're hopping on a ride, do not leave the food out.
Yeah, cover it with a blanket or something. Just make sure it's covered.
Save yourself.
Yep.
If your kid's picking at the food on the stroller, be warned. An animal might come up.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. It is crazy how much there's a video of us eating at Chef Art Smith's and a squirrel is like at the table with us.
I remember that.
His name was French Fry. They named him because he is always around because people feed him every day. Ducks in Disney, ugh.
Honestly, I'd be there too.
They're my
if
favorite
I was getting
thing.
if I was getting Disney food every day for free.
If I was a duck,
count me in.
If I was a duck, I'd live in Magic Kingdom. Right outside Casey's Corner, get all the dropped corn dog nuggets. Every time a little 3-year-old drops a nugget, mine.
The Animal Kingdom birds are pretty wild too. Over by
the Animal Kingdom's wild.
Over by like Flanktree and stuff.
They get so close to you.
So many birds over there.
They are so used to being fed. So wrap up the food on your stroller. It literally makes me think of like when you go to the Jersey Shore and the seagulls just attack.
Yeah.
Like apparently that's not normal. That doesn't happen at other beaches.
No.
No, isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I grew up
like a common thing.
No, there's even some beaches in Jersey where it just doesn't happen. But like if you go to like say Wildwood, like I've had a seagull literally take a tuna sandwich out of my hand. But then if you go like Belmar,
well, that's kind of your fault for taking a fish sandwich to the beach.
All right. My mom packed it.
Saying birds like fish.
Birds like anything they can get their beaks on. We would bury people and then we'd put like cheese curls on them so that the birds would come up and like peck at them while they were buried because then they couldn't do anything about it. No, but it was fun because like then the bird was like pecking at you. I don't know.
So fun.
I was never the one pecked at, so
We didn't go to the beach growing up, so
well, that's depressing.
I had fun.
Yeah, you guys did full on cruises and
Great.
stuff. All right, we got 3 more.
Ooh, I like this one. We say this one all the time. Don't leave.
Just don't ever leave.
Don't leave.
Stay in Disney forever.
Specifically after like the fireworks or a show that's happening at the end of the night, they'll slowly work you out of the park. And we're not saying to resist. If they tell you to leave, leave. But like,
way to cover your butt there.
well, I mean, I feel like it could be misconstrued.
No, yeah.
But after the fireworks, when the park is closed, if you ride one last ride, like as the park is closing, most of the time they're not gonna like be kicking you in the butt on the way out. They'll let you kind of mosey on your way out. Again, if you watch the fireworks and the park is about to like close right then, there are people still on rides, so they're not gonna kick you out right away. They're gonna let you mosey. You can take pictures in front of the castle as the park empties out, stuff like that. And
stores are open.
Stores are open, especially in like Magic Kingdom. They're open.
Hollywood Studios too. After Fantasmic, stores are still open.
Yeah. So you can take your time getting out. You don't have to rush out, and you don't really want to rush out anyway, because the buses, the boats, any form of transportation is going to be such a pain in the butt to get on immediately after the park closes, because 75 to 90% of those people that are in the park that day are just ready to go, and they'll just run right out. And most of the time you'll have to wait 2 or 3 buses, a boat ride, something like that. You'll have to wait at least 1 or 2 until you get on yours if you're not like the first person out of the park. So you might as well just enjoy more time in the park.
Yeah, this is a really big one for after the fireworks, especially if the park did not close after the fireworks. It usually doesn't. There usually is a little bit more time. But a lot of people, that's their marker of, okay, we're going to watch the fireworks, then we're going to leave. Especially if they have kids. That's the perfect way to tell your kid, fireworks, and then we're out. You got to go to bed.
Yeah.
So people will go. The monorail and the boat, that's where the lines get really, really long. Mm-hmm. Buses are a little bit more consistent, but still long lines. So like Rick said, don't be in such a rush. And then if it is one of those things like, say, Fantasmic that happens after the park closes, the stores might be open. You might have a little bit more time because of that. Don't feel super rushed. But again, like he said, don't make it so that they're kicking you in the butt. You still have to be aware of what's going on. If they're closing the doors behind you, they're closing the doors behind you. You should probably get going. But yeah, fireworks, that's the big one where the park is still open, but that's when a lot of people are going to take it as their time to go. And that monorail and that boat, like the ferry boat, they're going to get real backed up real quick.
And I've noticed with Magic Kingdom, it's a lot more lenient as far as how quickly they start booting people out. Like Hollywood Studios, for example, like immediately after Fantasmic, if you like try to go the opposite way on Sunset Boulevard, they're like, no, go the other way. Mm-hmm. Whereas Magic Kingdom is like, we've been there like an hour and a half after park.
Well, the hard part with that, so with Magic Kingdom, we're on Main Street. Yeah. So we're at the front of the park, in the hub of the park. Yeah. So they've already done their sweeps on the rest of the park. No, I get what you're saying. When we do that at Hollywood Studios, if you try and go back towards Tower of Terror, they already swept there. Yeah. So they're trying to get people towards the front, in front of the Chinese Theater, which would be the hub of that park. Yeah. And to the shops on Hollywood Boulevard, because that is the part that hasn't been swept yet. So that's where it's not a matter of which park, it's a matter of where has already been swept. Also, Fantasmic tends to be either at park close, if not 30 minutes after park close sometimes. Mm-hmm. So at that point, like the parks are already way cleared out, where the fireworks will tend to be while the park is still open, with an additional like 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours, depending on how late the park's open, if it's midsummer, after the fireworks that it's still open. So it's hard to judge it like that.
Yeah, I was just saying more for like the landmarks of the parks, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just all about where they've already swept. So that's the end. That's the exit. Like I'm sorry, not the exit. That's the end. That's the border. Yeah. There's nothing past it. Yeah. Really. So there's no reason to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
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 All right.
Dos más.
Oh, I lied. There was still one more from us and then one more from a listener. The one more from us isn't that great. But I guess people wouldn't know.
Ask for magic shots?
Yeah, if you have Memory Maker, if you bought the Disney PhotoPass service called Memory Maker, where all your things are included, or if you're just standing there with a photographer taking photos with the potential of buying it or the potential of buying individual photos, ask for magic shots.
Yeah.
Some photographers will do that on their own, but if it's a busy day, you can just say, hey, real quick before we leave, can we do a magic shot, please? And they'll edit like characters into your photos. They might edit some like balloons. Like they have different things that they'll edit in and different things for events that are happening. So they have a Run Disney magic shot. They have Christmas magic shots, Halloween magic shots. They have a lot of magic shots that are added in when you go to one of the parties. So things like that, you just have to ask. It's free. It's included in the price of your Memory Maker, included in the photo. So you got to ask for it.
My favorite is the one of us on the Tomorrowland side of the castle where they put Stitch in it.
I knew that was going to be your favorite. When you started saying, I'm like, always been talking about the Stitch.
That's a good one.
It is a good one. Stitch is sitting on the bench with his eating ice cream.
Yeah, I also like the one by the Tangled bathrooms.
Oh, where you hold the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's anything like quote unquote
really
magic
it's
about
not really
it.
a magic shot because they actually give you the light, but like that's a good tip. If you're a big Tangled fan, I don't know how often they do it because we
They're
don't
out
see it
there
all
like
the time.
every night.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Head over to the Tangled bathrooms over in Magic Kingdom, and they have a photographer out there, and the shot that they do is you and whoever you're with will hold one of the lanterns from the Lantern Festival, and then with all of the lanterns in the background in the bathroom area, it produces a cool picture.
Always be on the prowl for photo opportunities.
Yeah.
Look for those green shirts from the PhotoPass photographers because there's random pop-up ones like that. Like if you go towards the castle, we held Cinderella's slipper.
Yeah.
And they usually pull them out at night when it's not as crowded.
Yeah.
So or when people aren't really looking for photos, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So always just keep an eye out for those green shirts. Look and see what they're doing if they're there because there can be some really cool shots.
It could be something really fun.
Yeah, there's definitely some very cool ones. And ones like that where it's props, they'll also take them on your phone. So if you don't have Memory Maker, don't feel like you can't do it. You can, and they'll take it on your phone. It's not going to look as nice as if they took it with their camera because everything is set up to be best with their real cameras.
Yeah.
But they'll still be able to take a very nice photo for you on your phone. All right, the last one for today. We're going to stop here. We did have a lot submitted by listeners, and I'm very grateful for them, which is why we're probably going to do a full listener submitted episode. The last one we have. You cannot bring a balloon into Animal Kingdom.
Makes sense.
This is another tip that unless it happened to you, you might not have realized.
Save the turtles.
Save the turtles. If you're looking around Animal Kingdom trying to buy a balloon, you'll notice they don't sell them because they don't sell the balloons in Animal Kingdom. If you park hop with a balloon, if you have a balloon still on your stroller from the day before, your kid's still carrying it from the day before, they won't go anywhere without it. You can't bring it in. You can leave it at guest services. They'll put it into balloon daycare for the day and they'll watch it for you. It's basically it's like a coat check for your balloon. And you go back for it at the end of the day when you leave, or if you were to park up somewhere else, you go back, you get your balloon, and you head on out. This also goes for rides. You can actually check your balloon when you're getting on a ride. So if you don't have a stroller to put it on, or if you just are carrying it and maybe forgot you were carrying it and your stroller is a mile away, if you go to the same way that you would do a rider swap you can give them your balloon and they'll hold on to it for you until you're done the ride.
For anyone listening who may be going on their first trip to Disney, never really thought about balloons in Disney, you might be thinking, what a weird statement this is. And just to put it in perspective for you, it is kind of weird. But at the same time, those balloons that you see on the pictures of Disney, or like the commercials or something with the Mickey heads in them and the clear plastic around them, that's like a $40 balloon.
Stop it. They start at $18.
It's like a $40 balloon.
But there are different varieties. There are the light up ones.
Like the light up ones, they're expensive balloons.
Yeah, no, they're not cheap, but they're not $40.
They're expensive balloons. So it makes sense that if you spend all that money on a balloon, you don't want to have to get rid of it.
They're so fun, though.
They are fun. Not worth it, but fun.
They're so fun. I want a balloon.
Not getting one. They do last forever though.
They
They
do.
do, because who had one when we were there? Did one of the kids have one?
No, I wanted to buy them one, and then we just never did.
But we know someone who had one, and it lasted them like weeks.
Probably Becca or Abner. They
Maybe.
probably bought it and just let it survive
It
forever.
lasted for like weeks.
Yeah. So, Disney balloon tips. You can park it at guest services if you go to Animal Kingdom. They'll actually probably grab you before you even go in to let you know that you have
Yeah.
to check it. You can check it on rides. They will hold it for you for rides.
Mhm.
Other thing, they can deflate it for you at the
Ooh.
airport. They'll go and they'll properly deflate it. Personally, I think you should give it to a family that just arrived. But you
Okay.
spent that $18, so you do what you want with it. So if your
Yeah.
kid doesn't want to let go of it, you can go and get it properly deflated so that it keeps its shape and is nice and pretty and
You can
whatever.
go get it blown up at the dollar store.
I don't actually know if that's how it would work.
I don't
It
know.
might be.
Might be able to.
I have no idea. I think it'd be really fun though to like teach your kid to pass it on
Yeah.
and have them give it to
It's a
another
good- it's a good-
family
yeah,
and like just get to see the joy on like a kid's
Yeah.
face when they get it.
I agree.
But I don't know. So there's your balloon etiquette for the day.
You missed the best part. About when you pick it up.
When you pick up.
Yeah, when you pick up your balloon from daycare.
Oh, I just saw this online. I've never experienced it, so I don't want to talk about it. What if it's fake?
Well, then these people can try it and let us know.
Someone dropped their balloon off at balloon daycare
And let
at
us know
Animal
if this is
Kingdom.
true or not.
And they got back a piece of paper that said like your balloon went to balloon daycare and it was like played well with other balloons, took a nap. Like it was like the checklist that you get after you pick your kid up from daycare was what they got with the balloon, and I think it's so funny.
So someone please do this and let us know if this is true or
Yeah,
not.
we don't know if it's real or not. It seems real. It seems like the kind of thing that like a cast member was probably bored one day, so they just made this, and Disney was like, no, this is funny. People will love this. So then they printed it, and now it's a thing. But I honestly don't know, so I didn't want to talk about it. What if it's not real? And I don't know who posted it to be like, it was this person. Because I was just scrolling.
Oh, it's still fun to say.
I gotta start saving things. That's 2 for 2 that I don't have people to credit. Whoops. That's all, though. That's where we're gonna stop for the day.
Yeah, I think there was some good tips.
I think there were some very good tips. These are all of our learn by doing tips.
Like Gina said, we had a whole bunch more submitted by you guys, and we very much appreciate those. But it's a lot to go through in one episode, so it's going to have to be split up. So that's all that we have for today. If you don't already, go follow us on social medias at the Spill the D Pod cast on Instagram. Same thing on TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing on TikTok. Email is spillthedpod@gmail.com if you still use email.
If you have things that you would like, tips that you've learned from experience that you want to email to us, if you don't have social media, go ahead and email them so that when we do part 2 with only listeners submitted, or if we think of some more, we can make sure to include yours as well.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. But that's all we have for today. So until next time, we will
See you at the castle.